Chapter 15. The Confrontation on Voleom. The group arrived before a dark and colossal fortress that rose above the rocks like an open wound in the landscape. Its sharp towers and stone walls projected an imposing shadow, while an unnatural stillness hung over the area. The figure of Eldran appeared, floating in the air with perverse elegance. His presence carried a stifling weight, a manifestation of his nature and his manipulation of dark energy. Eldran observed them with a twisted smile. In his hands, he summoned 2 swords out of nowhere. So these are the warriors whose energy makes reality itself tremble. I recognize your ki. I have sensed it from afar for years. Without a doubt, your strength is staggering. I say this even now, as I stand more powerful than ever, he declared, with a deep, icy resonance. And there's that puppet who strayed from the script. At least you were useful to me for a time, he added, referring to Gravek. Supreme Kai took a step forward, trying to maintain serenity amidst that pressure that crushed even the air. What is it that you truly seek, Eldran? What do you intend with all this? The sorcerer tilted his head. A spark of recognition flashed in his eyes. Well, I didn't expect to meet one of the guardians of the original balance, he said with a venomous tone. Your face, your aura, you're just like those who confronted me. Supreme Kai raised his eyebrows. What are you saying? Eldran let malice show on his face. I suppose that as a god you deserve to know who you are trying to protect this universe from. His voice descended into a grave tone, charged with ancient echoes. I was not born as just any being. I was spawned from the remnants of creation, fragments of dark energy, pure chaos, without form or purpose. Vegeta growled, without taking his eyes off him. Spare me your third-rate legends. A small smile crossed Eldran's face, but he continued. For generations, the Supreme Kais watched over that energy that seemed to be fading, convinced that it would end up extinguishing itself. But they feared that one day it would manage to infect a living being. Then, a generation more powerful than the previous ones managed to forge a space where time flowed faster. There they confined the darkness, sure that eternity would wear it down. Supreme Kai opened his eyes wide. The white dimension. So you were sealed in there, since before my era, he whispered, his voice charged with disbelief. For millennia it worked, until the impossible happened. From that darkness a spark was born, a consciousness. That consciousness was me, proclaimed Eldran with a glacial glint in his eyes. Goku observed him in silence for a few seconds, measuring the weight of his words. A being of chaos, born in the void, he said in a low voice. Eldran raised his arms, letting his swords resonate with a metallic echo. There I formed myself, isolated, until I learned to tear the boundaries and escape. I adapted to the universe for thousands of years. I even took on a mortal appearance. I forged a vast empire of warriors. Wherever I went, chaos reigned. Disorder was my sustenance, and the more I devastated, the stronger I became. Supreme Kai tensed his posture with a low voice. Damn you. Eldran turned his icy gaze on Supreme Kai again. The universe believes it is sustained by a fragile balance between order and chaos, but that balance is an illusion. I am chaos itself, and sooner or later everything will eventually gravitate toward me. There will be no gods or order to prevent it, only eternal chaos with me at its center. Gravek took a step forward, his voice thick with rage. Stop masking your ego with those stories. While you speak of chaos and balance, the only thing you did was use me. You manipulated me. Eldran looked at him with disdain. Did you really believe that? A glacial laugh erupted from his throat. My poor pawn. The killer of your people was someone who hated you for your own actions. Did you really think your vengeance was complete? It was I who told him where to find your people." Gravek's eyes opened wide, trembling. "No, it can't be. My vengeance. It was you!" Eldran let out a merciless cackle. "Your life since that massacre has been a lie, Gravek, a simple instrument for my ascent. Do you not realize that the energy with which I imbued you also contains the blood of your people? That's how I manipulated you and the others, forging a new army far faster than anyone could have ever imagined." Gravek trembled, his face contorted, while his rage consumed him. "I will tear the power and life from you, Eldran. I swear it by the blood of my people." Before he could launch himself, Vegeta advanced a step, interrupting the scene with a growl. "I've heard enough. I don't care what stories you spin to justify your pathetic existence. You're nothing but a coward. You've been watching us, yet you lacked the spine to face us. This time there's no need to lock you away, because I'm going to wipe you from the face of the universe myself." Eldran smiled with contempt. "Do not underestimate the patience of one who plays the long game. Facing you before would have been a mistake, but now things are going to change." "Those swords," whispered Kibito, paling suddenly. Goku hardened his expression. "All right, let's see what you're capable of. Let's end this." Eldran unleashed the blades in a movement so swift and lethal, they seemed like extensions of his own body. Goku and Vegeta had no time to react before an absolute void engulfed them. The darkness was total, without light, without heat, as though space and time had folded in upon themselves. Utterly isolated, each trapped within his own void, they tried to move, but their bodies refused to obey. An overwhelming drowsiness forced them into unconsciousness. Right before everyone, in the blink of an eye, Goku and Vegeta vanished into the swords, absorbed in an instant. Supreme Kai and Kibito stood frozen, unable to believe what had just happened. "Impossible!" stammered Supreme Kai. "Not even a god could anticipate such cunning," thought Kibito, with astonishment and despair. Eldran, with a glacial mockery, directed his gaze to Gravek. "I must admit, I was surprised your pain unleashed such power on Toria. Your anger, I cultivated and corrupted it. You became obsessed with controlling others until you began to crack inside. That fracture released your fury. But I have already obtained everything I needed from you. No one can stop me now. From here on, the true game begins." Gravek roared, mustering his strength in a burst of fury. "Eldran, damn you!" For a moment, a fleeting image crossed his mind, like a distant echo. His son laughing, his wife reaching out to him. The memory burned, not like pain, but like fire. For them, he thought. He took a step forward and hurled himself at him, with all the rage contained in his body. But before he could get close, the villain raised his hand. A devastating ki attack shot out and blasted right through him, disintegrating him in an instant. No, he hasn't just sealed them. He even obliterated his former subordinate without a second thought, said Kibito, his voice trembling. "This is dangerous. Kibito, get us out of here," ordered Supreme Kai. Eldran shot toward them through the sky at full speed. Kibito reacted by pure instinct. A flash enveloped them and transported them to the sacred world, causing the villain's fist to strike nothing but thin air. The sorcerer scowled, then gave a slight tilt of his head. "Bah, it doesn't matter. I will leave the Supreme Kai for later. Time is on my side. Now I have more important matters to attend to."